Hello, Christine Knox here. I am absolutely thrilled to be sharing this incredible interview with you with Tania Shaw. She is the Managing Director of Oncology Massage Limited, and she has taken the time today to share with us her journey throughout her career into the world of oncology massage. She shares with us what it's like to be a trainer, what it's like to actually work in the field, and the insights she can bring to us as therapists and share her knowledge and wisdom and passion for what she does. Enjoy. So today we have Tania Shaw from Oncology Massage Limited. She is the managing director, and we're super happy to have you here. Welcome to participate in our podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good to be here.
You're welcome. First of all, I'm interested in your background and how you got into the field of oncology massage and how you became a trainer and then managing director. What does the story look like?
I know. It's been one that's expanded over the course of nearly 20 years, really. I was in retail for many years in management and retail, and I started off massaging my manager when I was in retail there, and she was, headaches and upper body tension and whatever I was doing seemed to work. And it made me really aware of the power of touch and what we can do to support the person, just to feel better, to feel much better, to be able to function. And I thought, oh my gosh, if this is what I'm doing with untrained hands, and imagine what it is that could happen if I went and got some training. And so I went and found a 10-day course in massage therapy from a woman that I really liked the look of up here on the Sunshine Coast. And I did that, and it just whetted my appetite for more. And wanting to volunteer at Bloom Hill Cancer Help at the time, because I had a little bit of time. I wasn't working all the time, and I had seen an excerpt or just a little thing in the free weekly magazine, and I thought I could go there and I could do something about that, or participate in that program. And they told me that they didn't want me because I didn't have the proper training in massage. I know, which meant that I didn't have insurance in place as well. So I thought, as you do, you go off and you start training. And during that time, when I was receiving my diploma of remedial massage, or working towards that, I did start working at Bloom Hill Cancer Care. I was the only therapist to work in-house at that time. And I quickly realized that what I didn't know was how to work with people who were living with the side effects of treatment for cancer. And that's, that can be multiple. It's not just the physical, it's the mental and the emotional that goes along with that. And so there was just one day I flipped open a magazine, and there was Eleanor Weston with her Massage, Cancer and More program. So light bulbs went off, and I went, right. And that's what started me with oncology massage training, or oncology massage therapy at the time. I did Massage, Cancer and More back in 2006. And then 2 years after that, I was invited to attend the Massage for People with Cancer. That was Gail McDonald's program, and that in 2008. And both of those programs were held at Quest for Life down at Bundanoon, Petria King's Quest for Life Centre. And that brought home to me the whole story that goes with working with people living with cancer. So, and then it just went from there. We became the first therapists to be trained, or there was a small group of us that were trained at the Sydney Adventist Hospital. So we did on 3 and on 4. And of course, that program has subsequently gone on to Melbourne at the Austin. And I think I didn't realise I was training to be a facilitator until Eleanor said one day, there you go, off you go. But I was quite happily helping on courses and being, assisting and joining in where necessary, or where Eleanor said, off you go and do that. And yes, it didn't occur to me at the time that I was going to be a solo teacher in Queensland. So that was pretty cool after a while.
Very
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Well, we just developed the program. There was a very small group of us. We expanded the program from the folder that Eleanor had given us to become this much more, because we realized as we went along, as I was developing my own teaching manual, that to support what I was delivering to the students, that we thought, yeah, there's so much more that needs to actually go into these student manuals as well. So that's what we did.
Wow. It
Yeah.
sounds like a really natural progression when you say it like that. And what a shock it must have been to you to get turned down from that first application, to be told, no, you're not qualified. And you're like, hang on, what?
Yeah, I did. I was like, oh,
I didn't know
I
that.
didn't know. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's the things we don't know that we don't know.
Exactly.
I think that's especially true in the world of oncology massage as well. Because there's quite a few things that I discovered through reading and education that I didn't know, and that I had subsequently, like before I knew, been doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
So it's so easy, I think, for that to happen, especially around oncology.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, that's true.
I think for clarification, the Bloom Hill what sort of centre is that?
That's it's a cancer support centre. It was a place that I was a lead therapist at for about 9 years, I think it was. 10 years, something like that. The numbers just blur after a little while. And all of the team that I built up there, with the support of the manager of care, they were a phenomenal group of therapists, and they were all trained in the foundation program that we have, and to watch the growth of those therapists and the confidence in them as they were working with the Bloom Hill clients as they were coming in. So, seeing them from the initial diagnosis through the treatment stages, and then afterwards as well, so that was pretty cool. I was really privileged and happy to be there for that growth period.
It really makes me think that you must have seen a lot of change in the field of massage and oncology, and change in attitudes perhaps from the public.
Yes.
Can you help us understand what that was like?
To see the change?
Yeah.
It was, I think part of it was seeing the belief in the therapies. Seeing the confidence in that this actually does support the person. It does meet them at that particular point in time where they really do need to have supportive care. And we now have integrative care. We have the new words coming through, which are far more appropriate to describe what oncology massage is in the health scene, in the oncology health scene. And the tricky bits to get it recognised as an essential service, an essential healthcare service for our clients, was to speak to the business people, the people who are running the organisation, talking to the hospitals in the area as well, who thought that oncology massage was just going to be a treat for somebody, and that we were going to offer volunteers to go into the hospital. And I recall vividly a meeting once. There was the manager of care at Bloom Hill and myself met with the head honchos at our local hospital, and the head honcho actually brought his volunteer manager with him.
Right.
And the reason for that was because of what I just mentioned. The volunteer manager thought that we were going to put our hands up to become part of his service, and they didn't actually realise that there's oncology massage is evidence-based, and that there is good research out there to support the side effects for cancer. So the awareness from that point in time has grown to the point now where oncology massage is accepted as integrative rather
That's
than just
true.
complementary.
Yes, that is, and there's quite a distinction between the two. And how wonderful that
Yeah.
that change is happening. I'm from Scotland, and we have an integrative approach there. Um, However, I have also come across that attitude of, oh, you'd be volunteering
Yes.
your time, skills, niche skill set. And it's a very tricky one to navigate. So
It is. It is. Yeah. I mean, thankfully, there's been a lot of groundwork done by, what we call our pioneers in the industry. There is Gail McDonald over in the States, who did have a big impact in Scotland, which we spoke about at the MMA conference. And then there's Eleanor Oyston here in Australia. There's the various training or the educators over there in the States, there in Healwell, has been at the forefront of doing research, of creating awareness around massage therapy. And they too have a hospital-based training program, which has been phenomenal in showcasing oncology massage worldwide. And here in Australia, we've got our therapists in the Chris O'Brien Lifehouse, at the Olivia Newton-John Cancer and Wellness Research Centre. We have organisations such as the Melbourne Integrative Oncology Group who are coming to us and asking for trained therapists so they can be on staff there. So it is
absolute demand for more well-trained oncology therapists.
Yes, there is, So, as I've neglected to mention Peter Mac as well. They have an oncology massage service there in the form of Ronna Moore, one of our graduates as well. Yeah.
Sometimes when I've asked other therapists, they've said, oh, it sounds like it might be a bit sad, this area to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
What would you say to a therapist who's thinking a little bit like that?
It could be, and it can be, because people do die, and we can't avoid that. But you need to have a sense of humour, truly, and you need to be prepared to have really great conversations with people about what quality of life actually means to them, or what living in the moment means at that time, because you get very real very quickly when you're speaking with somebody who is undergoing treatment or who has come out the other side of it and they're not quite sure what the future holds for them. For instance, there's a lady that I had been seeing quite regularly over these last 18 months or so, almost every week. And she died about 15 days ago. So that was tough for me. Obviously, for her family, it's even more so. But I do remember booking her ahead, and she goes, "Look, you're a bit optimistic there, aren't you, dear?" And I just laughed. Well, and she said, "That's right." She said, "I'm not dead yet," and I went, "No, no."
Oh dear.
Or the time when a lady who was in the, she wasn't in hospice care at that time, but she was in palliative care. She was still able to come to my clinic, and she took a wig off one day and she just put it on the bottle of water that I had there for her. So I had to laugh, and I just couldn't help it. And she said, "What are you laughing at?" And I just said, "Look." She went, "Oh, yeah." She said, "Is that okay?" And I went, "No problem." I took a photo of it with her permission, and we both shared a good laugh over that. So it can be really sad because you do become close to people. How can you not? You're in their personal space.
It's the same with any client.
Yes, it is.
We're not supposed to have our favorites, but we most definitely do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That amount of time we have, one-on-one connecting emotionally and physically in someone's energetic sphere.
Yeah.
I think you have to be a certain type of person to be a therapist, to allow people in and to meet them where they're at.
Exactly. We know, and part of how I introduce oncology massage when I meet students for the first time on module one is we know there's magic that happens when we put our hands on somebody. You know, we know that there's a change in the air, in the person that you're touching, and within yourself as well. However, we have good science to back up what it is that we do, the connection that we have, the empathy that we as people have with our clients. I think that's key. That really is. It's part and parcel of being a good therapist. You're there with empathy. You're not there with sympathy.
Yeah.
And you know that empathy doesn't like it does help us feel fully
Yeah.
when we touch.
Yeah, I agree. And that doesn't necessarily mean we don't have boundaries. We take the training to help us regulate ourselves
Yes.
and help that person to regulate themselves. It's like we meet, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, you're
Overlap.
absolutely right. Yes.
Yeah.
And I think it's an evolving process. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as therapists, we're very good at reflective practice as well. So we can go, perhaps I can move here. Or actually, I'm excellent at that. Keep doing it that way. It's great. And that comes on all levels, doesn't it? It's intellectually and with our touch as well. We can reflect on all these things. In my training, that was a huge part of what we did, that self-reflective practice.
We do several components of that in our training too. And as I say to every group of students, I always learn something new when I'm on course with people, because yes, I'm imparting my knowledge. I'm bringing to life the content in the student manual that they've got in front of them, but it's the students' experiences and it's how they respond or react to the things that we teach them that informs me as well. And I think that makes me a better therapist, because it's an interaction with another human being that comes from a very personal space.
Yeah.
And I love that, you know.
Yeah, it's so good. It shows me that you're a very good teacher as well.
I love it. Honestly, I just love it. And I never thought I would, because I'd always feel like I needed to take 10 changes of undies with me when I first started teaching. You know, and there's still, you know, a heightened level of awareness when I go in to meet people, because we are human beings. And I know what we've done to get to that point, to actually be there, to be face to face in a learning environment. So it's like, you know, the box of chocolates, isn't it? You know?
It's very much that, isn't it?
But I do love it. I just love it. Yeah.
So if you could tell someone like what the essence of oncology massage is, how would you describe it?
You know, that changes on any given day. The
Yeah.
essence of oncology massage from a personal perspective, I believe that it gives a person living with a health condition, whatever that might be, because more often than not, it's not just cancer that's coming through the door. There's lots of other things that's coming as well. And it may not necessarily be a health condition. It can be a family environment or a work environment that's not quite as helpful or beneficial as you would like it to be. You know, it's that space that is built brings about a sense of peace. I think that can be the essence for me personally, the peace in the room, the settling of that energy, if you will, brings a certain level of healing with it. That, you know, we can explain through the relaxation response. We can explain it through the research that's gone before today. In essence, it's a connection that you build with another human being.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a profound effect.
I think that's, for me, it's very personal. And
Yeah.
that's what I say to people, to students. It becomes very personal. Because of that connection that you build. And that's where those boundaries that you mentioned before, our good boundaries, working within our ethics, working within our scope of practice, that makes a good session because it's there for the client.
So good. So good. Love it. Yeah. I'm like, it's all got me in the feels actually. I'm like, oh, so good. I'm going to ask you about the training that you do with students. Is there a particular memorable moment that pops into your head?
When I'm training,
Yeah, when you're training, anyone that's a stand out.
we've had so many
Yeah.
out moments from students, people that have gone on to do great things within their community. I can name several of. There's Wacky Butel with her lymphedema therapy, her decongestive lymphatic therapy education programs. I first met her on one of my courses at Bloomhill, and I was sincerely impressed by her desire to be the best oncology massage therapist that she could be. And she nailed on one and on two, so completed her foundation program. And then, because we have a component around lymphatics in our program, in the foundation program, we build on it from module 1 through to module 2 as well. She recognized the importance of that and the need for it in her community because she came from a country town, really. And it encouraged her to go on and do her decongestive lymphatic therapy training. And then she wanted to teach that because she was so passionate about it. So then she went off, she took herself off to become a registered nurse so that she could train and be recognised by the ALA, the Australasian Lymphology Association. Now, my goodness, from doing a diploma of remedial massage, going on and doing our foundation program, learning the value of having that education to go on and do more education and ending up in a field that she is incredibly passionate about.
Yeah. Yes. She taught me my lymphatics.
Oh, right. Okay. So you know.
Yeah. Great teacher. Great teacher. In order to access the other education available, to have to up her educational status by studying nursing, to then access other education.
We never stop learning, do we? It's an ongoing thing. The more I know, the more I realize what I don't know. It's something that I say all the time. So.
Yeah, me too. Isn't it amazing when you start to look at the people who've been through your training and the amazing things that they've gone on to do?
There's the students too that come in and they're so full of self-doubt. They sit there in the classroom, they're connecting with other students, and they know that they need to be there because they know that they need to be able to learn how to do best massage for that clientele, and it's getting them through module 2. For me, that's the greatest reward because you work with them in such a personal space. You're able to encourage them in that real time and find a way through for them that they learn with, because we all have different learning styles. And I think that's some of the most rewarding things that I've found, is to be able to find that way through. And I know our other teachers as well, they feel very much that same way. So being able to give a therapist or a student at the end there, this is your certificate, you've earned this. And they're incredibly grateful because they go back to their communities and they let me know that this is what they've been able to do, and might be a small pond there, but I tell you what, it's a massive pond when you look at it in real time, because those people have got family and friends elsewhere as well, and they get to know about the benefits of it.
What I would like to talk about is the training that you offer. If someone's listening to this and they're thinking, gosh, that sounds like a really worthwhile thing to study, how would someone go about getting in touch with you, first of all? And then what does the training actually even look like?
In 2024, Our foundation program has two modules, Oncology Massage Module 1 and 2. And each of those are 3 days each, and it's 8 hours a day. There's a certain online learning component that we have before students come onto course. We've also got our textbooks, and we've just introduced Oncology Massage, an integrative approach to cancer care, which was published in 2021. And the authors are Janet Penny and Rebecca Sturgeon. Now, I met Rebecca Sturgeon many years ago at the S4OM conference in Minneapolis that we attended as Oncology Massage Limited Group. And she's an incredible human being, a passionate educator. I haven't met Janet, but the combination of those two they've brought about this most amazing textbook, which is filled with colourful illustrations and the information that you absolutely do need. So I encourage people to read that or start reading it before they come to course. And then they come and we bring it to life for them. So, look, Module 1, it's mostly about the science. Why doesn't massage spread cancer? So we debunk that straight away. How do I explain that? How do I talk to the medical people about why it doesn't? So we give them the words. And we give them the tools to be able to support that conversation. We teach people 5 out of 7 practical techniques in Module 1 as well, and say, go home, practice it straight away. Make sure you incorporate that into your clinical work so that you're working with it all the time and you're feeling the different responses from different people who are at different stages of health. So, it starts to build that knowledge within around the effects of this massage. Self-care, as I mentioned earlier, it's spread throughout modules 1 and 2. It's module 1, we bring it all together with case studies, lots of case studies to be able to say, well, there's this particular scenario. I draw the most amazing Gumby figures on the board. And we do, it's an interactive thing where we're talking to each other and, what about this? What about that? And I always say the more complex it seems, the simpler the oncology massage that you're going to give these people, it just becomes quite simple. So, and then in module 2, that's where we up the ante a little bit with that one there. More about self-care, more about awareness around the psychosocial impact of cancer diagnosis and how do people get there? What happens for that to occur? And also spontaneous remission. Why does that happen as well? It's like, oh my goodness. And there's several stories around the world that support spontaneous remission. People are so incredibly ill and then they're not. So what happens with that? We explore that and how it impacts us as people, not just therapists, but as people, because we have our own families, our own lives, businesses, connections in the community. And then we put the students, it's under it's a gentle mentoring eye where we bring our volunteer guests in. And our students have to do a medical history intake and then they devise the massage plan using what we've taught them, which is quite a logical approach to being able to give an oncology massage. Where, as I say to everybody, we're here to support you. We are here to do our very best to make sure that you pass. We're not here we don't set you up to fail. We set you up to succeed.
Absolutely.
Which is what, that's the aim. And nerves aside, we recognise that can be. So there's space and there's time to manage that for that person. But, when you see the looks on people's faces, once they've actually got their hands on that real person, not just another student, and they're really enjoying themselves. And they go, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And the wrap up at the end of module 2 is I love that bit too, and the happy smiles, the the people who have gone, I'm going to go home, this is going to be amazing. And what I can now do to support my clients, that's all part of module 2 as well. So we have an element of that in module 1, and it builds to module 2. All right, so that's our foundation program, and this is really exciting, but our On 3, which is being built specifically for the community-based therapists wanting to work in a more medical centre, as in specialist allied health or hospice. We're pretty excited about that. That's always been the goal, to reintroduce that, and we're working on that right now.
Work in progress right now.
Work in progress, yes.
Exciting.
Because we need an educational pathway. We can't just stop at the foundation program. There's more knowledge out there, and there's more the awareness in the medical fraternity is building, and we know that. But we also need to support our therapists to be able to match that demand.
Yeah, that's great. And is there prerequisites that you might have?
Module 1, we don't have any, because we want everybody to know how to massage safely. We want to empower people to be able to go and touch their loved ones with the gentle touch, being informed and knowing that they can do that, to take the fear away from it, I think. It's open to the volunteers, with so many volunteers everywhere, that do have that capacity. They've got that heart to go into the hospice or to respite, and they will provide massage therapy. I remember once my best friend's dad was in the centre, in the end of life care, and I went in there to give him a massage. And there was a volunteer who came in with her bag of tricks. She had a basket full of beautiful lotions that were quite strong smelling, and he told me afterwards he didn't really like them, but she was happy to provide that massage. And he said, I'm getting an oncology massage. And she said, oh, that's a big word. And I thought, she didn't know. She didn't know what oncology meant, and she didn't know that there was adaptations, or that she needed to be aware of certain things. So we had a chat afterwards, but so they're the people that we want to come and do our training. But with module 2, you need to have a certificate in massage therapy or myotherapy or a diploma level there. You also need to have successfully passed module 1. Okay, there's no RPLs for module 1, given the length and breadth, the extent of the information that's in there. I don't think you can just read a textbook and go, yep, I'm done, I'm good. We have 5 of our 7 practical techniques in that first module there. And a membership of a professional association too, because with that comes along the insurances. Okay. So module 3 must have the foundation program within the last 3 years or so. We take each application on its own merit, because COVID, some experience in the community as well. So that's sort of it in a nutshell.
And I love that the first level is inclusive to exactly as you described, that the lady that just really didn't know.
No. I know. And she was, I didn't see her work, but I do know that some of the volunteers that I've had on course in module 1 there, they have got the most beautiful hands, and they adapt that they just do the massage as we say. They're intuitive. They don't have any prior training that we need to adapt or amend. Like I always say to students, we're not about breaking old habits. That's not it at all. We're about making some new habits that are specific to oncology massage, so.
Yeah, it just reminds me, I've had across my time several members of families that have come in and just say, my dear one's just been diagnosed with having cancer. What can you tell me, Christine?
Yes. Where do we start?
And there's always something you can do, even if it's just the nicest handhold, just gentle, everything.
Yes.
There's always
Yeah.
something.
There's always something. There's always somewhere that they can touch. You know, there's never nothing that can't be done, really. You know, the only time I think that we're not there or that we're not able to be there is when it's close to time of death. You know, that's family.
Yeah.
And that's boundaries.
Yeah, absolutely. And teaching a family how to give physical comfort is a beautiful thing to do for family members to be able to do. So
it is, yeah. We want to empower people to touch. I think that's
beautiful. And I think on that note, we'll finish things there. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Christine. It's been a pleasure to speak with you today. Thank you.